Hi and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name remains Ujuwan Nekeze, and if you're new on this channel, I teach tech in the most simple ways, and I also share lifestyle talks on discipline, how to navigate life's challenges, and generally on personal growth. And today I will be teaching different functions in Excel, like concatenate, case function, flash fill, ampersand, mean, and median. And I need to let us know that this video is a remake of a previous video that was flagged down and removed by YouTube because of some privacy policy as regards my data cleaning. So today we'll be cleaning data using these functions in Excel: concatenate, ampersand, case function, mean, median, and flash fill. And so if you have watched the previous videos before and you can't find it, this is a combination. I'm supposed to make a part 2 of this data cleaning. However, I am going to be making a full video of data cleaning. However, this data cleaning, I have taken out what is flagging my content down, which is the phone number and then the email address. So with the techniques that I'll be using to clean this formula, you can also apply it on the phone number, on how to clean and on how to clean your phone number and email. However, I will be making a separate video on extracting extension from phone number, but I will work on that data so that it will follow the guideline of YouTube. So if you find my YouTube impactful, please like, share, and comment. It will help me grow and it will encourage me to do more. So let's work on the data set. Welcome to the inside. So this is our data set. Don't forget to go to the description in my YouTube video and then copy the link so that you can download this data set so that as I work, you also work from your end. We learn by doing, so you know how we roll. So let's do this together. And don't forget, if you are stuck anywhere, please use the comment section, ask questions, and I'll be more than happy to help. So this is our raw data set, and looking at it, first thing we want to do is to convert this to an Excel table. If you look at the headers, like the first name, last name, let me use my first name, last name, department, you will see that it doesn't have like a drop down arrow where we can sort, filter, quickly check, some informations in my column. So right now, we want to make this worksheet table to help us in terms of if we enter another information like an entry, the formula that has been worked upon before will automatically effect on it, and there's a lot of benefit attached to this. So I'm going to be showing us two ways we can create a table. First is to go to our home. You first of all want to click anywhere in our worksheet, especially where we have the data. And then we go to home. We leave from fonts. We leave alignments. Then we leave number as well. And then we come to styles. So home, you go to styles and you will see format as table. You click format as table and it give you options of different designs. It depends on the organization you're working on. It depends on what you're trying to achieve. So you have options to choose any designs from here. And then it will give you this dialog box asking you, this particular one that has been checked is just saying, your table has header, my table has header, and it automatically like take the first one as the header. So, and then where is the data for your table? Also, this is the point where you have to know referencing. And then this dancing line that is around this shows that it captured your data. And if you look through very well, you will see that it captured from A1, which is your header, down to 201, which is the last entry of your data. And then you click on OK. And then you have created your table. In this table, you realize that before, while I was talking, there's no drop down arrow here. So now, because it's not a table, you can click on this. You can sort, you can, test filter, sheet view. You can also like check for blanks and all of that. Those are the advantage of creating a table so that, if I eventually put like values here and I work on something and I want same value, I don't need to repeat my formula again. I'll just sort of drag it and get my answer, right? So that is the one first way you can create a table. So another simple way, so I'm gonna Control Z. Yeah, another way you can create a table is just to click anywhere within the worksheet and then click Control T, which is Control T, create table. And it's also give you the dialog box. All you need to do is just press the OK. And this one will just give you any design. It is not left for you to. And when it creates like the table, you would automatically be on that table design because it's expecting you that, oh, you would need, to style it the way you want. So you can come here and click on any design of your choice. Now that I've done that, what do I want to do? Remember, I said we're going to be cleaning data. I'm going to be using my case function. I'm going to be introducing Ampersand and Concatenate, which is used to join text. I'm going to also be introducing flash fill. And then we're going to be using if. Yeah, I didn't mention that we're going to be using if because we have conditional, we have two conditions, in fact, three conditions under our department. And then we're going to be changing our date formats. And then we are going to be using either min or median to fill in our blank or missing data under our salary. So first thing first, let's go. There's something called helper column. So helper column is used to is a column that we create within our data sets. Now we create it in front of the column we are trying to clean. Let's take for instance, our first name is Richard, like not our first name has Richard, Nicholas, Leonard, Jason, and the likes. Now we want to clean this. We don't want to leave it in lowercase because it's currently in lowercase. So I want to make it a proper case. Now, what does proper case mean? Proper case is when you have a text and the first letter in your text is capital letter. So which means I want Richard to have a capital R while the rest comes as a lower R. Now, I don't want to use this same column to be, it's not, if I want to use that same column, that means I have to click and manually be changing out. How long? What if I have 1 million data sets? You just be busy for nothing, changing something. No, we should not just be busy, we should be productive. So my helper column, I'm just going to click on this and right click, then I'm going to be inserting. Now, so once I'm done, like introducing what I want as regards the column I'm trying to clean. Once I have the inputs, what I want to do is copy those values and paste in the original cell and then delete the helper column. Now, the reason I don't want to work, or apart from the fact that it's going to be manual, I feel like it's safer to work on cleaning my data outside the column because this is all I have, right? And then if I click on it and I'm changing something there and maybe I got caught up with something, I got a call, or I have to do something, then I've forgotten where I left the data from. By the time I come back, the original data, I'm confused. But in the case where I'm still in my helper column and I feel lost, what I will do is to delete my helper column and then still use my original to solve what I'm trying to find. So in this case, I want to make this a proper case. So all I do is equal to proper, and then I click on the first one, that is why we having like a table makes so much sense, because as I click this A, if in fact, automatically it knows what I want. So I click this, by the time I click enter, it will populate everything for me. So now I have Richard, Nicholas, Leonard, Jason, Deborah, Frank, and everything in proper case. Now I'm going to press Control Z because I want to go back. because I want to show us uppercase. But if we want to change it to uppercase, it's still very simple. You just do equals to upper. And then you click on this and then enter key to give you upper. But in this case, let's go back. A moment. Okay. So in this case, I want it to be upper equals to, no, upper. So I click and then click this and then now I have everything in. Now we say thank you so much to our helper column. So we copy what we have. We come here, we click on Richard here, we right click. So on the paste option, you want to click on the paste 1, 2, 3 because we are pasting as a list. Sorry, 1 minute. So you click on Richard first when you want to copy. Then you right click, not right click, you Control Shift downward arrow because I'm trying to copy everything. And we now right click and then copy. And we come here, click on Richard, the first one, and then right click and paste 1, 2, 3. Now, thank you, helper column. It's time to delete you. Now we have Hancock. Hancock is in capital letter already. We also want to make it a proper case. So I'm going to be inserting my upper column. I'll also show you the lower. If I want to make this lower, the simple thing I do is to create low, is to click on lower, click on this and press enter key, then I'll have it in lower. However, we're trying to make this uppercase. We're trying to make it proper case. So we say proper and then enter. We have this. So we want to click on the anchor first, then Control Shift downward arrow to capture everything. Right click, then we copy. It will take us back up. Then we right click here, and then right click again and paste. Now, thank you so much, our helper column. Thank you for helping us. Now, it is time for me to introduce how to join tests together with Ampersand, with Concatenate and Flash Fill. And you get to decide which is your favorite and which is the best and the easiest one. Now, I'm going to be creating an helper column here. For instance, right, we want to join tests together. Let's take, for instance, we want our first and last name not to be on separate column. We want it to be like create one column and give it an header like full name. So we want to have Richard and Hancock on the same, cell on the same column. So we say equals to concatenate. I'm trying to join tests together. And then it's asking me, I want us to always read the arguments. Now, the first one is saying text 1. This one is first name. The next thing you want to do is comma. Then after comma, it's asking us what is text 2. Text 2 is Hancock. So after we click on text 2, which is Hancock, let me see. After we click on text 2, which is Hancock, would realize something, and I want you to also think about how the result of this formula would display, if it's right or not, or if there's something wrong with it. So we'll do an enter. We were able to join this text together. However, there's no space in between them. This does not show that this data is properly cleaned, because the reason we clean data is to be able to understand the data clearly. Yes, it's to understand the data clearly. We want it to be clean. We want it to be analyzable. We want to be able to understand it. So first of all, if you notice that you do not have enough space in your column for the text or any value you have there to fit in, you come to that column that has those values And when you have this arrow, plus sign, before we can still like drag it, but in an advanced Excel, once you have the plus sign, just double click. Once you double click, it's going to fit in according to the test size or test numbers, quantity or length you have in each of the cell. So double click. Now we have been able to merge first name and last name together. However, we do not have space there. Imagine that I have to click on each of these names and start putting space. It's still not a smart work, it's too much hard work. So what I'm going to do right now is to delete and write our concatenate function in a way that is going to create space for us. Don't worry, it's simple. So I'm going to control Z, Z, and Z. So what I want to do now is say equal to concatenate. So this time, look at the argument that is bold, is saying text one. Our text one is this. Then we have to put comma. And it's asking us text two. Remember, if I add my text two as Hancock, which is the last name, I'm going to have it together. So I need space. Like in the normal sense, I'm just supposed to like do like this space, but it's not going to work. So in Excel, space is double quote, space and double quotes, while blank is quote, quote together, which will make like 4 quotes without space. So now my text 2, I want space, then comma. Both test in the argument is asking us for text 3. We now put this one. And what we do is enter. And then let's expand by double clicking. Now we have Richard Hancock, Nicholas Simon or Simons. I think it should be Simon. Leonard Stanton, Jason Muller. We now have them with space. Amazing, right? So now we now know how to join text together using concatenate, and we know how to put space in between our text. Now, I would want us to compare which of these joining text functions which one is the best. Now I've used concatenate. Now let's move to the next one, which is Ampersand. Now Ampersand is not like a formula. It's just we're using like normal operators to achieve this. So I'm gonna like delete now, and I'll be introducing Ampersand to do the same thing I just did using concatenate. Now we are using different functions for same purpose. So it depends on which one is easy for you and what you're trying to achieve. So equal to, I'm not going to bring any formula out because it's an operator, one of the operators, right? So equal to, I click on I want first name. And I say and what? Remember when we solved the other one? If I go ahead to say and last name, I will not have space. So what am I going to introduce? Oh, you got it. We're going to introduce our double quote, which serves as space. So double quote and what again? Space. What again? Double quote. So this will give us space. Now that is the next thing we want after our first name, what should we do? And so and what? And the last name. Then enter. See? So is it concatenate? Is it ampersand? Now wait, hold up. I'm introducing flash fill for us. And let's delete. Nope, that's not what I want to do. I'm just kind of excited. So delete. So flash fill. Flash fill is more like an intelligence in Excel, trying to watch what you do and suggest to you, is this what you are doing? I don't want you to work too hard. So it will kind of dim it, right? And if it's something you want, you click on enter and it will populate it. Intelligence. This one does not require you to write equal to. This one does not require you to write any functions or any formula. What you do is write what you want, how you want that thing to be. But that thing you're trying to repeat, or that thing that you are trying to do, must appear in any of the column. For example, you're trying to bring Richard Hancock together. You like, let's just say normally, like if you have a paper and pen and you see first name and last name here, you just want to write. Now this is you are typing, you came to this column and like, I want Richard and Hancock like this. But you must make sure that you don't make error or mistake in the spelling. It has to be the same way it is written there, capital, like the cases matter. Then enter, right? Then you repeat. Then you say Nicholas. Do you see that? I have not even finished writing Nicholas, the second one. It has already suggested, oh, I think this is what you're trying to do. Then enter. Do you like this one? Now, I'm going to go back. I want to teach us this flash fill into, well, it's the same thing. However, what if I want to initialize my last name? Like, I just want a full name, but I just want a full name like as a column, but I just want to write the first name and I want to initialize the last name. How do I go about it? Same way, trust me. So let's Control Z. The same way will be like Richard Hancock. So Richard H. And I say enter. Then I say Nicholas. See, did you see that? It will go there and say, oh, I think you're trying to initialize the first letter of the next text. You say Control, enter. That way, we also have this. So which one are you going for? My mind is telling me that you prefer flash fill. So let's move forward. We have covered concatenate. We have covered ampersand. We have covered upper, lower, and proper case. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Now, looking at this department, let's go sort and see, or filter and see if we have any blank cells. Now we don't have any blank cell. We also want to make our department proper case. But in this case, I can make everything like finance, marketing, and operations. I can make it proper. But HR and IT is like initialized, right? Or abbreviated. Yeah. Like HR is human resources, while IT is information technology. Now, if I make it proper, H will be capital, R will be small. HR, that can mean hour. And IT can mean it, like normal it. So for the sake of this and cleaning this data, I would like to make everything proper case, but I would like to make HR and IT uppercase. I would like finance, marketing, and operation to be proper and HR and IT to be upper. Yes. So how do I write this function? Because I have been teaching case function and the only thing I do equals to proper blah. If I do proper, won't it populate everything? Absolutely, it's going to populate everything. So how are we going to ensure that while we are writing our formula, we want the exception of HR and IT? That is where this becomes conditional. Now we have three conditions We have three conditions here. The first condition is make my IT capital, which is uppercase, make my HR uppercase. That's the second condition. Now, if you make this IT and HR uppercase, make the rest proper. That is three. So remember, if we are cleaning, we want to clean on a different or a separate column, which I call helper column. So we right click and then insert. Now this is a conditional statement. We say equal to if C2 automatically, like, I'm working on all the departments. So even if I click like the first one and drag it down, it will go down, and it's not like I'm working with all the formula on that column C. So even if I say like I click on finance, for the sake of people who might not understand, like even if I click on finance, I'm not just talking about finance alone. I'm talking about everything here, but I need to start with the first one so that Excel will understand the logic. And by the time I drag down, it will start shifting and give me the result of what I want according to what is on the next, cell in the column. Now I'm saying that if in my column C, and I say I'm using C2 as a reference, which will help me to, first of all, write my formula, and I'll be able to drag down and it will know what I'm talking about. So I'm saying that if you go to departments, and if you go to department, if department, comma, you find lowercase it's, kindly give me capital letter IT, great, first condition, comma. What is the other condition I mentioned? HR. So if same department equal to, yeah, that's what I'm supposed to do. If it's equal to IT, then give me IT in capital letter. Then comma, if same department equal to HR in small letter, like if you find it this way, please, comma, make it capital HR. Otherwise, give me proper for the rest of it. For the rest of this, like, we're making reference to that department because that is what we are working on. Then brackets until I have, if you notice when I was putting bracket, it was giving me color until I get to that black. Like if you have nested formula, like you join a lot of formula together, you have to keep closing it. If you see color, it keep giving you different colors until you get to black. We opened if, the first one, that's the first bracket that we're closing at the end. We open the second one, then the proper, which is the last one. Then I click on enter. Now, if you go to the drop down arrow, you'll see that finance is down in proper, HR is in capital, IT is in capital, marketing is in proper, and operations is in proper. Amazing. Now let's move to the next one. Our next one is status. Let's quickly check our status. We do not have any blank cell. We have active, on leave, terminated. We want to change this to proper case. So we're going to do the same thing we've been doing, and then we right click, then we insert, we do equals to proper. We should be able to do this. And then enter key. Amazing. So what do? We Control Shift downward arrow, we right click, then we copy, then we come here, we right click, and then we paste, and then we come here and say thank you, helper column, bye, delete. Now we have dates. Now, I have checked this date before, and it's just a short date, and I don't see like any blank. We have 2020, 2021, 2, 3, 4, 5, looking good, right? So let's, for the sake of, it depends on what you're trying to achieve, right? So let's come here. Let's control shift downward arrow and come to date here. Date is still under home, like under the number. Then you come here and you see two options of date. Currently, we have short date. So we can say long date. Now the reason, don't worry, the reason we have hash is because the space of each cells in the column is not enough to contain this. So anytime you see a hash, is not because there's an error, it's just because of space. Remember how I told us that we can expand. We just click this place, and once we find the plus sign, we double click, and then we have our long date. So you can choose to have long date, you can choose to have short date. It depends on how you want to present your data. It depends on how you want it. So for the sake of, exploring different functions and showing you different formats, I'm going to leave it this way. So let's move to salary. Now we want to also quickly check here and check, wow, see what I'm talking about. If you have blank cell, you always find it at the end here. So I want to know how many blank do we have? How many missing value do we have? So first of all, I will select all. Then, no, I will unselect. I will uncheck the select all. Then I go down, click on the blank, and say okay. Now, if you look at this left-hand side, you will see that 106 out of 200 records were found, which means that we have 94, 106. No, that means record found. That means we have 106 missing value. So let's unfilter or clear our filter. Now, in this case, we have three options if we want to fill our missing data. First of all, it's not like you want to generate salaries, people's salaries, or a random value. First is, if you have access to the department, the finance, the data entry officer, you want to say, hey, the data you gave me, I'm missing 106 salaries. Do you have is it like a mix-up? Do you have these salaries to give to me so I can impute it and then work on my data? If you don't have access and you just have this data that will work with what you have, and this next option is mean. Now, mean has advantage and also has disadvantage. Now, if we are using mean is like average, is average. So let's take, for instance, if we have like the 106, we have like the 94 values, is going to like sum everything up and divide by 94. So whatever value it gives to us is the average. And that is what we populate the cell. For example, let's say we have, and another way we can, like, the good side of mean is that if the values in each of the cell is predictable and not far from each other, by the time we sum and divide to get the average would be on point and very reasonable. But in a case we have, numbers, out of our numbers or values, we have like an outlier, like we have one of the values start from 20,000 and 30,000, and all of a sudden we have like 200,000. By the time we sum and divide to get average, our average will be so high that when you say, oh, the average of what they earn here is 60,000, or we are 60,000, 80,000, the person earning 20,000 will be like, are you kidding me? So because the average does not make sense, and that's why, mean sometimes it depends. Now, median is very safe when we have outliers. For example, if we have like 40,000, 42,000, 43,000, 45,000, and 50,000. And then I gave us like five number: 40, 42, 43, 45, and 50. And then median is more like the middle number. It will kind of sort it. What median will do is to sort from the lowest to the highest and then go to the middle and pick the middle number. That way, out of everything I've called 40, 42, it will pick 43. Now, 43 is not so far from 40 and 42. And 43 is not so far from 45 and 50. So if you say, oh, that's like, it will make a lot of sense. So we don't want to be too low and we don't want to be too high. So in this case, we're going to be using median because based on, this started from 40,000 down to 89,000. So I want to use median for this. So how are we going to do this? It's also going to be two conditions, right? The first condition is if the cell is blank, give me the median. The median of what? Of the remaining data here, right? And that's it. That's just it. So, but first of all, I want to show something quickly. Now, where we have our 94 entries is on column G, which is G2 down to control shift down to down to G201. So I want us to know that that is the cell referencing because I don't want to, because if I don't use the cell referencing, just for the sake of clarity, the formula might be too, because it's not going to come as the A2, it's going to come as the name of these headers and it might be too long and I don't want us to feel confused. So we say equal to if G2 is equal to what? Blank. Remember I told us how we can put space. How did I tell us that we can do blank? We'll do double quote twice without what? Without any space. So we're saying if G2 equals to blank, then give me median. Median of what? That is why we checked our reference. G2 to G201. Like you see that it's highlighted, like that place is now red because I was able to reference the right cell, right? So give me G2 to G1, like which means that if you go from G2 to G201, whatever value you have there, I want the mean for it. So before closing these brackets, I'm going to lock my cell. I'm going to lock it. Remember when I was showing us how we were trying to create the table, it sort of locked it for us. Now, I want to lock this because I don't want it to go below. I don't want to go beside, right? So I'm going to highlight this and I'm using Windows. So if I'm using Windows, I'm going to click on FN on my keypad or keyboard, FN and F4. See, I have $sign. I have locked it. $sign is things that I've locked. It depends on where it's appearing. This one, I locked everything. Now, if you're using a Mac, you probably don't need to click on FN. You just need like F. You can always explore and see what works for you based on your system. And then we say, okay, give me. So if you find G2 as blank, this is what, if you find G2 as blank, give me median in this cell. Otherwise, otherwise means if it's not blank, bring back whatever is already in G2, just bring it back, which means it will fill up the blank with median, and the ones that have value, it will leave it that way, like bring it back. And then I click on my enter. If you notice, this one came back as the same, this one came back as the same, came back as the same. And then for the median, which will be the same thing, came back as 63,000. So 63,000 being the mid is not so far from 40,000 to 6 something, and it's not so far from 80 something thousand, which is like the middle. Then remember that we want to right click and copy. No, 1 minute. We want to Control Shift downward arrow, right click. We want to copy, come here. We want to paste. So I'm gonna come here, right click and delete. So here now we have decimals, so let me first of all change it to currency. So I'll Control Shift downward arrow. I will come here and let's give it $sign. Then I want to reduce my decimal to nothing. So here now, decrease, here, increase. So I'm gonna come here, decrease, see, it's going down and decrease. So now we have our salaries here, which we have now filled the blank. So another thing I was telling us about, creating an Excel table is, if I come here, this is a plus, and I say remark, see what it's gonna do for us. If I say remark and I say enter, did you see that automatically it made, like, this is a table. I've already said it's a table. The design of the table, the color of the header, everything came there. So I will just continue. Let me do it again. Let me say results. But if you do it on a table that you did not, if you do it on a data that you did not create, or a worksheet that you did not create as table, you would not have that. Enter. Did you see that? So if you find this impactful, don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to share. It will help me to do more. Keep looking out for my videos, and I promise that I will try my best to do well. Thank you so much and have a great day.